Clara Bennett walked along the narrow metal walkway of the spaceport, her boots clanging softly against the steel. The air smelled faintly of oil and ozone, a smell she had grown used to over the years. She had just turned 19, but her mind was sharper than most people twice her age. Her small frame carried a backpack full of tools, gadgets, and notebooks, filled with her observations of alien languages and machines. She often felt out of place among the older scientists, who looked at her like she was too young to understand anything important. Clara had learned to ignore them. She knew what she could do, and that was enough. Today was different. Today, she was being sent on her first real mission. Not just a classroom exercise or a simulation. The Interstellar Council had requested her skills to help analyze alien transmissions coming from the edge of the Andromeda sector. Clara was nervous, but the feeling was exciting. She loved puzzles, and this mission promised a puzzle bigger than anything she had faced before. Ethan Cole was waiting for her at the docking bay. He was tall and lean, with sharp features, and gray eyes that seemed to see everything. Clara had heard of him before. Ethan was an intelligence agent, someone who worked in the shadows to uncover secrets that most people didn't even know existed. Rumors said he had been tracking alien infiltrators for years, and no one could match his skill. He didn't smile much, but Clara noticed that when he did, it was brief, almost hidden. "Clara Bennett?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. "Yes," she said, trying to hide her nerves. "I'm Ethan Cole. You'll be assisting me on this mission. You'll handle the analysis of the alien data. I'll handle the fieldwork and security." Clara nodded. She had expected this. She was good with languages, codes, and patterns. Fieldwork was not her strength, but she trusted Ethan to keep them safe. They boarded the shuttle together. It was small, fast, and equipped for long-distance travel. As the engines hummed to life, Clara looked out the window and watched the colony shrink behind them. The planet's surface was dotted with domed cities, glowing softly under the light of a distant sun. It looked peaceful from above, but Clara knew the peace was fragile. Out here, in the far reaches of space, danger could appear without warning. Ethan sat across from her, studying a holographic map projected from the console. "We are heading to a derelict station near the star Cora 7. There have been transmissions detected from it that don't match any known alien language." Clara leaned forward, her eyes wide with interest. "What kind of transmissions?" "Encrypted signals," Ethan said. "They appear to be coordinating something, but we don't know what yet. Your job is to decipher them before anyone else can use the information." Clara felt a thrill run through her. She loved a challenge, and this sounded like the biggest challenge of her life. She opened her backpack and pulled out a small device, a translator she had been building for months. It could analyze patterns in sounds and symbols, detecting hidden meanings that no ordinary computer could find. The shuttle jolted as it entered the outskirts of the star system. Cora 7 loomed ahead, a dying orange sun surrounded by drifting asteroids. Near one of the asteroids floated the derelict station. Its hull was blackened and scarred, evidence of old battles or long years of neglect. Some parts of it were missing, floating silently in space like forgotten bones. Clara swallowed hard. "It looks abandoned," she said. "Looks can be deceiving," Ethan replied. His eyes never left the station. "Once we dock, stay close and follow my instructions. Don't touch anything until I say so." The shuttle docked smoothly, and the airlock hissed open. Clara followed Ethan into the station. The interior was dark, filled with shadows. Broken machinery and scorched panels littered the floor. A faint hum echoed through the corridors, like the last breath of a dying engine. Clara's translator began picking up signals almost immediately, faint pulses in a language she had never seen before. "This is it," she whispered. She knelt by a terminal, running her device over the alien interface. Symbols glowed faintly under her touch, shifting like living patterns. She could feel the complexity of the code. Someone had gone to great lengths to hide the messages. Ethan moved ahead, checking corners and scanning the shadows with a handheld device. "Stay alert," he warned. "This station may be abandoned, but it may also be a trap." Clara nodded, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Patterns emerged slowly from the chaos, fragments of words and meanings. She realized that these transmissions were not random. They were instructions, coordinates, and warnings, sent from one hidden source to another. Whoever had sent them was planning something, and humans might be in danger. Hours passed. Clara and Ethan worked in silence, punctuated only by the occasional hum of the terminal or the soft beeping of scanners. Clara noticed Ethan watching her often, but she could never tell what he was thinking. Sometimes his eyes seemed distant, as if he carried the weight of 1,000 secrets. Finally, Clara leaned back, exhausted but excited. "I've found something," she said. "These transmissions, they're coordinating some kind of operation, but it's not clear what the target is yet. Whoever is behind this is very careful." Ethan nodded, his expression unreadable. "Good work. This confirms my suspicions. There is a faction within the Interstellar Council that is planning to manipulate humans. They want to control key decisions across multiple colonies. If they succeed, it could destabilize everything we've built." Clara felt a chill run down her spine. "But why us? Why me?" "Because you're the best at decoding patterns humans can't see, and because I need someone I can trust to handle the data while I work on the field operations," Ethan said. His voice softened slightly. "I know it's a lot to take in, but I trust you, Clara." Clara nodded again, though a small part of her remained uneasy. There was something in Ethan's eyes, a hesitation she couldn't read, something he wasn't telling her. She decided to focus on the work instead of the mystery. There was no time for doubts. As they moved deeper into the station, Clara's device picked up a sudden surge of signals. The lights flickered, and a low vibration ran through the floor. Ethan's hand went to the sidearm at his belt. "Stay behind me," he ordered. Clara followed, her heart racing. The corridor opened into a large chamber. In the center floated a holographic projection. Strange and complex, it showed planets, ships, and lines connecting them, like a web. Clara recognized the style of alien code she had been studying. The projection was a map of their targets. Human colonies were marked with bright red dots. Clara's eyes widened. "They're planning attacks," she said, her voice barely audible. Ethan nodded grimly. "Yes. And if we don't stop them, many humans will die. That's why I'm here. And that's why you're here. We have to understand this before it's too late." They worked through the night, translating and decoding the alien transmissions. Clara's mind raced, connecting symbols to words, words to actions. She realized the aliens were not just spies. They were strategists. Every movement was calculated, every message designed to manipulate. By the time the first light of the distant sun touched the station's hull, Clara had pieced together most of the plan. She turned to Ethan, her hands trembling from exhaustion. "I think I understand it," she said. "They're trying to control key leaders on several human colonies. If they succeed, humans will be fighting each other without even knowing why." Ethan exhaled slowly. "Good. That means we have a chance to stop them. But we have to be careful. One wrong move and they'll know we're here. And if they know, they'll come for us." Clara nodded, trying to steady her shaking hands. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. She was finally part of something important, something that could change the course of human history. For the first time, she looked at Ethan differently. He was not just a skilled agent. He was someone carrying a burden too heavy for most people. And somehow, she had to help him bear it. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Clara noticed something she had not seen before. A small symbol etched into the wall, almost hidden in the shadows. It was a warning, she realized, or maybe a signature. Someone knew they were here, or had known before they arrived. Ethan glanced at the symbol and frowned. This changes things. We might not be the only ones watching this station. Clara felt a chill. The mission had just become far more dangerous than she had imagined. Yet, despite the fear, a spark of determination lit inside her. She had faced challenges before, and she had solved puzzles others thought impossible. This was bigger, yes, but she would rise to it. Together, Clara and Ethan moved toward the exit. The shadows of the station stretched long under the fading light of the distant star. Danger lurked around every corner, but Clara knew one thing for certain. Humans were clever, adaptable, and brave. And as long as she had Ethan by her side, she would fight to uncover the truth no matter how deep the shadows ran. As the shuttle detached from the station and they began their journey back to the colony, Clara looked out at the stars. The universe was vast, full of unknown threats and hidden allies, and somewhere out there, the humans' true strength waited to be proven. She was ready to face it, step by step, puzzle by puzzle. Clara sat in the shuttle, staring at the holographic data she had collected from the derelict station. Every symbol, every pulse of the alien code seemed alive, moving in patterns that almost made sense. She had been working non-stop since they left the station, trying to make sense of the transmissions. Ethan sat next to her, reviewing the shuttle's navigation systems, his face serious and calm as always. "Clara," he said, finally breaking the silence, "we need to be careful with this information. Whoever sent these messages is clever. They might already know someone is trying to decode them." Clara nodded. "I know, but I think I've found something important. Look at this pattern." She turned the device so Ethan could see. Lines of alien symbols glowed softly on the screen. "They are sending coordinates to ships. These ships are moving between colonies, but not just randomly. They're choosing colonies that have weak defenses." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "So they're planning more than just sabotage. They might be preparing an attack." Clara swallowed. "Yes, and they're very careful. If anyone interferes too early, the whole plan could change. We need to figure out their goal before it's too late." The shuttle moved through the edge of the Andromeda sector, past fields of asteroids and drifting debris. Clara's mind raced. She had always been good at puzzles, but this was bigger than anything she had ever faced. Not only were they trying to decode alien language, but they were also trying to predict the actions of enemies who were smarter than most humans. Ethan glanced at her. "I need to know something, Clara. Can you trust me?" Clara hesitated. Trust was not something she gave easily. She had seen people lie and betray others for smaller reasons, but Ethan had proven himself capable, calm, and focused. She nodded slowly. "Yes, I trust you." Ethan gave a small nod and returned his attention to the navigation panel. "Good. You'll need that trust. Things will get more complicated soon." As they approached a small human colony near the border of the sector, Ethan explained their plan. "We're going to meet someone who might help us understand these transmissions. Her name is Maya Sullivan. She's another analyst experienced with alien codes. But be careful, she has her own methods, and she doesn't like being questioned." Clara felt a twinge of worry. Working with someone else meant she had to share control. She was used to being the one who solved problems. But she reminded herself that this was bigger than pride. Lives could depend on it. The shuttle landed on the colony, a city of low silver buildings connected by narrow walkways. People moved quickly, carrying supplies or attending to their work. The colony looked peaceful, but Clara could feel the tension in the air. Everyone here knew that danger could come from the stars at any moment. Maya Sullivan waited in a small, glass-walled office. She was older than Clara, with short black hair and sharp brown eyes that seemed to look straight through people. Clara felt a little intimidated, but she kept her voice steady. "You must be Clara. Maya said, her tone neutral. Ethan told me about your skills. Let's see if you're as good as he says. Clara smiled faintly. I hope I don't disappoint. Maya raised an eyebrow. We'll see. The three of them sat around a table, and Clara began showing the decoded data from the derelict station. Maya's eyes widened slightly as she studied the patterns. This is impressive, she said finally. Most people would get lost in this code, but you found a clear pattern of ship movements and target colonies. Clara felt a small sense of pride. There's more. I think the transmissions are preparing humans to be manipulated, to act against each other without realizing it. Ethan nodded. Exactly. And if they succeed, it will be chaos. That's why we need to understand the full plan before it reaches the council. Maya leaned back and frowned. It's worse than I thought. If these aliens control the flow of information, they can turn humans against humans. We need to stop them, and fast. They spent the next several hours analyzing the data. Clara worked quickly, connecting symbols and sequences that revealed hidden instructions. Maya suggested additional methods for decoding, which helped speed up the process. Ethan kept watch, occasionally checking security feeds for any sign of danger. Suddenly, Clara's device beeped loudly. She jumped slightly. There's a new transmission, she said, scanning the screen. It's coming from inside the colony. Ethan's eyes narrowed. That's not possible. We haven't detected anything unusual before. Maya leaned in. Let me see. She tapped on her own device and widened the scan. Her face went pale. Someone here is sending encrypted messages. They've been hiding it very well, but now it's active. Clara felt a chill. Someone in the colony is helping the aliens? Ethan's voice was low and firm. It seems so. We need to find them before they do more damage. The three of them split up, each taking a different section of the colony. Clara moved through narrow streets and alleys, following subtle traces left by the hidden transmissions. Her heart pounded as she realized that someone she had met before, someone she trusted, could be the traitor. She found herself outside a small workshop near the edge of the colony. Through the window, she could see Maya's device scanning patterns that she had not noticed before. Someone was in the workshop, working on a terminal. Clara moved closer, careful to stay out of sight. The person at the terminal was a man, tall and with dark hair tied back. He didn't notice Clara watching. She whispered to her device, "Identify unknown transmission." The device beeped softly, confirming that this was the source. Clara's mind raced. She knew she had to report this to Ethan, but she also knew that if she acted too quickly, the man might escape. She decided to stay hidden and observe for a few more minutes. The man typed quickly, sending a series of encrypted messages. Clara watched as the code appeared on the screen, recognizing fragments of the language she had been studying. He was skilled, almost as skilled as she was, but she noticed something strange. He paused occasionally, glancing around nervously, as if he feared being discovered. Finally, Clara decided to act. She stepped forward, her device in hand, and called out, "Stop! I know what you're doing!" The man spun around, his eyes wide with shock. Who are you?" "I'm Clara Bennett," she said firmly. "And I know you're sending messages to the aliens. Why?" The man hesitated, his face flickering with fear and something else she couldn't identify. I didn't mean to. I just... Clara took a deep breath. "You are putting humans in danger. You have to stop now. If you don't, Ethan and Maya will know everything, and it will be too late." The man swallowed hard. "You don't understand. They said if I refused, they would destroy the colony. I had no choice." Clara's mind spun. She had expected a spy, someone who was loyal to the aliens by choice. But this man was afraid, trapped, like a pawn in the game. "Then you have to help us stop them," she said. We can protect the colony, but only if we work together. The man nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help. But we have to move fast. They will notice soon if something is wrong. Clara activated her device, sending the information to Ethan and Maya. Within minutes, they regrouped in the workshop. Ethan's expression was serious, but he nodded at the man. You made the right choice. Now tell us everything you know. The man introduced himself as Leo Harris, an engineer who had been forced to work with the alien faction. He revealed the hidden channels they had been using to manipulate colonies, showing them the full extent of the plan. Clara's mind raced as she processed the information. It was worse than she had imagined. Entire colonies could be turned against each other if they did not act quickly. Maya leaned back, her face pale. We need to alert the council, but first, we have to secure the transmission points and stop the messages from spreading. Ethan nodded. Clara, you and Maya focus on decoding the rest of the messages. Leo and I will handle shutting down the transmission points. We don't have much time. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Clara worked tirelessly, following patterns in the alien code, deciphering instructions that could prevent attacks on human colonies. Maya assisted, suggesting methods that Clara had not thought of. Together, they began to unravel the full network of communication. Meanwhile, Ethan and Leo moved through the colony, quietly disabling the hidden transmitters. The tension was high. Every corner could hide danger. Every shadow could be an enemy. But their efforts were precise and careful. By the time the sun set over the colony, the immediate threat had been neutralized. The transmissions were stopped, and the hidden channels were sealed. Clara, exhausted but exhilarated, looked at Ethan and Maya. We did it, she said softly. For now. Ethan's expression remained serious. This is just the beginning. Whoever is behind this will not give up easily. We need to prepare for the next move. Clara nodded. She understood now that this mission would not be simple. There were enemies hiding in the shadows, waiting for humans to make mistakes. But she also knew something else. Humans were clever, brave, and resourceful. And as long as they worked together, they had a chance to survive. For the first time, Clara felt a strong connection to Ethan and Maya. They were not just colleagues, they were allies in a dangerous game that could decide the fate of entire colonies, and she knew she would do everything she could to protect the humans she cared about. As they left the workshop and looked out at the colony below, Clara felt a mix of fear and determination. The shadows were long, the danger real, but the human spirit was stronger, and she would fight to prove it. The colony was quiet now, but Clara could feel the tension in the air. They had stopped the immediate threat, yet something still felt wrong. She walked beside Ethan as they moved through the streets, her mind racing over the data they had uncovered. The alien transmissions had been stopped, but the patterns they had decoded revealed a far more dangerous plan. Whoever was behind it knew humans well. They were counting on fear, confusion, and division. Clara, Ethan said, breaking the silence, there's something you need to know. Maya isn't exactly honest about everything. Clara frowned. What do you mean? Ethan stopped walking and looked at her seriously. I mean, she has her own agenda. She knows more than she lets on, and I don't fully trust her yet. Clara felt a chill. She had started to admire Maya's skill and calm confidence, but now doubt crept in. You think she's working with them? I don't know, Ethan admitted. But we need to watch her carefully. I want you focused on the code, but don't forget what people are capable of. Clara nodded, feeling a mix of fear and frustration. She had trusted Maya, but now she realized that trust might be dangerous. Still, she decided to continue her work, focusing on the alien transmissions. The data showed multiple targets across the sector, human colonies marked for infiltration. The aliens were not just sending instructions. They were planting ideas, trying to manipulate human leaders to act against each other. That night, Clara stayed in the small office where they were analyzing the transmissions. Maya was sitting across from her, typing rapidly, her eyes scanning the patterns with sharp precision. Ethan was reviewing reports from other colonies, noting any unusual activity. The room was tense and silent, except for the soft hum of devices and the occasional beep. Clara noticed Maya glancing at her a few times. There was something in her expression that felt guarded, almost secretive. Clara tried to ignore it, focusing instead on the alien symbols. But she could not shake the feeling that Maya was hiding something. Suddenly, the devices beeped loudly. Clara jumped and looked at the screen. "Another transmission," she said. Her heart pounded. "It's encrypted differently this time. Someone is trying a new method." Maya leaned in, her brow furrowed. "I can help decode it," she said. Her voice sounded calm. But there was an edge to it, a sense of urgency that made Clara uneasy. Clara handed over the device. As Maya worked, Clara noticed that some symbols seemed familiar, too familiar. It was almost as if someone had anticipated their decoding methods. She frowned, her instincts telling her that something was wrong. Hours passed. Clara worked alongside Maya, comparing notes and analyzing patterns. Slowly, the message became clear. The aliens were coordinating attacks on colonies, but more than that, they were using a human inside the colonies to guide their actions. Clara's eyes widened. "Maya," she said carefully, "this message, it points to someone here helping them, someone who knows our systems." Maya's eyes flicked up, and for a brief moment, Clara saw a shadow of something, fear, guilt, or maybe something else. But Maya quickly returned her attention to the screen, typing as if nothing had happened. Ethan entered the office, looking serious. "Have you found anything?" he asked. Clara nodded. "Yes. There's a human inside the colony who is sending information to the aliens. They know how we think, how we work. They're guiding the attacks." Ethan's face darkened. "We suspected as much. We just didn't know who. Clara, stay close to me. Do not trust anyone outside this room for now." Clara's stomach tightened. She had already suspected Maya, but now the evidence was pointing directly at someone in their midst. She tried to keep her expression calm, but her mind raced. She had trusted Maya, but trust could be deadly in situations like this. The next day, they decided to investigate. Ethan and Clara moved through the colony, following subtle clues and patterns in communication. Every message, every strange behavior, became a piece of the puzzle. Clara's mind worked quickly, connecting fragments of code to real-world actions. They found small inconsistencies in Maya's movements. She would disappear for a few minutes, claiming to double-check transmissions, but the data suggested she had been accessing secure channels without authorization. Clara's suspicion grew stronger. That evening, they confronted Maya in the office. "Maya," Ethan said, his voice calm but firm, "we need answers. Who have you been communicating with?" Maya's eyes widened, and for a moment, Clara thought she saw fear. Then her expression hardened. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice steady. Clara stepped forward. "We have evidence. The transmissions point to someone inside the colony helping the aliens. We know it's you." Maya's face twisted in anger. "You don't understand. I did what I had to do. I had no choice. They threatened to destroy the colony if I didn't cooperate." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Threats don't give you the right to betray humans. Lives are at stake, Maya." Maya looked at Clara, her expression softening for a brief moment. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. I was trying to protect them." Clara felt a mix of anger and pity. "You put them in danger. You helped the aliens. That's not protection. That's betrayal." Maya's shoulders slumped. I know. I thought I could control it. I thought I could keep them from doing real harm." Ethan shook his head. We can't afford mistakes. We have to stop the operation completely. We need to undo the damage you've caused. Clara felt her hands shake slightly. This was the first real betrayal she had encountered. Someone she had worked alongside, someone she had thought was an ally, had been helping the enemy. She realized how fragile trust could be, even among humans. Despite the betrayal, they had to act fast. Clara, Ethan, and a reluctant Maya began working together to track every hidden transmission and prevent the alien faction from using human collaborators. Clara's mind worked quickly, connecting symbols and instructions faster than anyone else. Maya provided insider knowledge, reluctantly revealing methods she had used to hide transmissions. Ethan coordinated the efforts, ensuring the colony remained safe. Hours turned into a day. The tension was unbearable. Every beep, every movement outside the office made them jump. They moved cautiously, securing hidden channels, blocking communications, and decoding the final layers of the alien messages. During this process, Clara learned something important. Even with betrayal and danger, humans could adapt. Maya's knowledge, despite being used for the wrong reasons, became a tool for them to protect the colony. Clara realized that humans could turn even mistakes into advantages, a quality that aliens might underestimate. By the end of the second day, they had stopped the immediate threat. The hidden human collaborator had been revealed, the alien transmissions blocked, and the colony was safe, for now. Clara, exhausted, leaned back in her chair. She felt a mix of relief and sadness. Betrayal had cut deep, but it had also shown her the strength of human ingenuity and resilience. Ethan looked at her and Maya. We're not out of danger yet. This was only a small part of the plan. The aliens will adapt, and there are more humans who could be manipulated. Clara nodded. I understand, but we've proven that we can fight back. We can stop them if we work together. Maya remained quiet, her face reflecting guilt and regret. She had chosen the wrong path, but now she had a chance to make things right. Clara didn't know if she could fully forgive her, but she understood that the fight was bigger than personal feelings. That night, Clara sat by a window, looking out at the stars. The colony glowed softly below, peaceful for the moment. But she knew the shadows were still out there, waiting. Somewhere the aliens were planning their next move, and more humans could be forced to betray their own kind. She clenched her fists, determination rising inside her. Humans were clever, brave, and resilient. Betrayal could slow them down, but it could not stop them. Clara had seen what humans could do when they combined intelligence, courage, and trust, even when trust was fragile. She would continue the fight. She would uncover every secret, decode every message, and protect her people. And she would not let betrayal define her. As she looked at the stars, she realized something else. Trust could be rebuilt. People could change. Even in the darkest shadows, humans could shine. And she would make sure they did. Clara stood on the observation deck of the colony's main station, staring out at the dark expanse of space. The stars twinkled faintly, cold and distant, but Clara's mind was busy with the transmissions she had decoded. The aliens were clever. They had planned for every possibility, but humans were clever too, and Clara knew that. Ethan joined her silently, standing beside her. We can't just wait, he said. If we do, the aliens will use more humans to carry out their plan. We need to take the fight to them. Clara nodded. I understand, but we'll need more people. We can't do this alone. Ethan's eyes narrowed. I know. That's why we need to gather a team. Humans who can think fast, who can act quickly, and aliens who are willing to help us. Clara felt a thrill. This was bigger than anything she had done before. Not just decoding transmissions or stopping hidden messages, but leading a fight against an alien conspiracy. She had faced challenges before, but this was the real test. They called a meeting with the colony leaders and a few trusted engineers. Clara presented the decoded transmissions, showing how humans were being manipulated to carry out the aliens' plans. At first, some leaders were skeptical, but when Clara explained the patterns and predictions, their faces changed. Fear mixed with understanding. One of the engineers, Leo Harris, spoke up. "We need to act fast. If we wait for the council to decide, it will be too late. The aliens are already moving." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. That's why we're forming a small strike team. We'll work quietly, but we'll hit the points that matter most." Clara looked around the room. Maya was there too, still quiet, her face serious. Clara didn't fully trust her yet, but she knew Maya's skills could be useful. They would have to watch her closely. Over the next several hours, they selected members for the strike team. Each person had a specific skill: engineers to disable alien devices, analysts to decode messages in real time, and pilots to transport them between locations. Clara felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The team's success depended on her ability to understand the transmissions and predict the aliens' moves. By evening, the team was ready. Clara and Ethan reviewed the plan. "We'll move in 3 groups," Ethan said. "Leo and I will disable the alien devices in the outer colonies. Clara, you'll lead the analysts in decoding any new transmissions. Maya, you'll assist, but I'll be watching your work closely." Clara felt a pang of anger at the reminder, but she understood. Trust had to be earned again. She focused on the mission. Humans depended on them, and she would not fail. The first group departed for a nearby colony under cover of darkness. Clara stayed behind with the analysts, monitoring communications. As the transmissions came in, she realized something. The aliens were adapting. They had learned from their failures, changing their methods to avoid detection. Clara worked quickly, decoding symbols, identifying patterns, and predicting the next moves. She realized the aliens were coordinating attacks not just on human colonies, but on supply lines, communication hubs, and transport fleets. If they succeeded, humans would be cut off from each other and forced into chaos. Ethan returned to the station after disabling the devices in the outer colonies. He looked tired but determined. "We're making progress, but it's not enough. They will come back stronger. We need to rally more humans and allies." Clara nodded. "I have an idea. We can use the decoded transmissions to predict where they will strike next. Then we can move in first, protect the colonies, and show humans they can fight back." Ethan's eyes brightened. "That's exactly what we need. Humans must see they can resist, or the aliens will win by fear alone." Clara worked through the night, decoding transmissions, predicting attacks, and creating a strategy. She shared the plans with Ethan, Leo, and Maya. Slowly, the team began to move. Pilots transported strike teams to the most vulnerable colonies. Engineers reinforced defenses, and analysts monitored alien activity. For the first time, Clara saw the power of human ingenuity. Small groups of humans, acting together with clever planning, could match even the aliens' superior technology. She felt a sense of pride and hope. Humans were underestimated by many, but they had intelligence, creativity, and courage. The next day, they received reports from the strike teams. Attacks that were predicted had been prevented. Supplies reached the colonies safely, and communications were protected. Clara felt a spark of excitement. They were winning. Humans could fight back, and they were proving it. But the victory was not without cost. Some strike teams had encountered resistance, and a few humans had been injured. Clara felt the weight of responsibility, knowing that every decision she made affected lives. Yet she also realized something important. Humans could adapt, even in the face of danger. They could learn quickly, improvise, and overcome challenges that seemed impossible. As they prepared for the next phase, a new transmission came in. encrypted more deeply than anything Clara had seen. She stared at the symbols, feeling both excitement and fear. The aliens were not finished, and they had learned from their failures. Clara worked tirelessly, her mind racing as she decoded the message. Slowly, the pattern emerged. The aliens were planning a coordinated strike on multiple colonies at once, using humans to sabotage their own systems. The scale was larger than anything they had predicted. Ethan entered the room, looking at the screen. "How bad is it?" Clara took a deep breath. "It's worse than anything we've seen. They're using humans to guide their attacks, but we can predict their moves. If we act quickly, we can stop them." Ethan nodded. "Then we move, gather the teams. We strike before they can act." Clara and the analysts worked quickly, sending instructions to the strike teams. Engineers prepared defenses, pilots transported teams to the colonies, and Ethan coordinated movements. Every human on the team was focused, determined, and ready to fight. For the next several hours, the team moved across the sector. Clara monitored transmissions, adjusting strategies in real time. She marveled at the skill and bravery of the humans she was leading. They were clever, resourceful, and brave in ways the aliens did not expect. The coordinated strikes began. In each colony, human teams acted quickly to prevent sabotage. Supplies were secured, communication lines protected, and alien devices disabled. Clara watched the results with a mix of relief and pride. Humans were capable of amazing things when they worked together. In one colony, a small group of humans had been trapped by alien drones. Clara guided them using decoded transmissions, telling them where to hide and when to move. The humans followed her instructions perfectly, avoiding capture and protecting vital equipment. Clara felt a rush of pride. Humans could overcome fear and danger with intelligence and teamwork. As the day ended, reports came in. The coordinated attacks had been stopped. No colonies had fallen, and humans had proven they could resist. Clara looked at Ethan and the team. They were tired, but their faces showed determination and hope. Ethan smiled faintly. Humans did this. They fought back when they could have been afraid. They adapted, learned, and acted. That's something no alien could predict. Clara nodded. She realized the truth in his words. Humans were clever, brave, and resilient. Even against a superior enemy, they could find a way to win. Maya, still quiet, looked at Clara. "I never realized humans could be so strong. Even when I was afraid, I see now they can fight back." Clara felt a mix of anger and hope. Maya had betrayed them before, but now she understood what humans could do. Betrayal could not destroy human courage or intelligence. Humans could rise above it, even when the odds were against them. That night, Clara sat on the observation deck again, looking out at the stars. The colonies were safe for now, and humans had shown their strength. But she knew the aliens would return. They would adapt, change, and try again. Clara clenched her fists, determination rising inside her. Humans were clever, resourceful, and brave. They could survive and fight even when the shadows seemed impossible to overcome. And she would continue to lead, decode, and protect them, step by step. She thought of Ethan, Leo, and even Maya. Together, humans could do amazing things. She smiled faintly, feeling a sense of pride. They had turned fear into action, betrayal into lessons, and danger into opportunity. The universe was vast, and the shadows were long. But humans were stronger than many believed, and Clara Bennett would make sure they never forgot it. Clara sat in the command room of the colony station, her eyes fixed on the holomap in front of her. The stars outside glimmered, distant and silent, but inside, tension hummed like electricity. Reports from the strike teams showed that humans had held back the alien attacks, but it was only temporary. The alien faction was still active, and their ultimate goal was clear: They wanted to control human colonies, using humans as tools. Ethan stood beside her, arms crossed. His face was calm, but Clara could sense the tension in his shoulders. "This is it," he said quietly. "We know where the aliens are gathering, and we know the location of their weapon. If we act carefully, we can stop them." Clara nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "We have the teams ready, the transmissions decoded, and the colonies prepared. But this is the biggest operation yet." Ethan glanced at her. "I know, but humans can do this. They've already proven it. Now we just have to finish it." Maya stood nearby, still quiet. Clara watched her carefully, remembering the betrayal from before. But now, Maya was fully focused on the mission. "I'll help where I can," Maya said softly. "I know the alien network better than anyone. We can use it against them." Clara nodded slowly. Trust had been rebuilt, but carefully. "We have to act together. Every second counts." The plan was simple but dangerous. Ethan and Leo would lead a strike team to disable the alien weapon directly. Clara would coordinate the teams from the station, decoding any transmissions in real time and guiding them to the right locations. Maya would assist Clara, providing insider knowledge of the alien network. The shuttle carrying Ethan and Leo departed quietly, slipping into the darkness of space. Clara monitored the movement on the holomap, her heart pounding as she watched them approach the alien flagship. The ship was massive, black and angular, floating silently above a small planet. Clara felt a chill. One wrong move and the mission could fail. Back in the station, Clara focused on decoding transmissions as they came in. The aliens were clever, constantly changing codes and rerouting commands. Clara's fingers flew over the keyboard as she broke the symbols into patterns, anticipating their next moves. She relayed the instructions to Ethan and Leo in real time, helping them avoid traps and ambushes. "Clara," Ethan's voice came through the communicator, calm but urgent. "We're approaching the weapon. Any updates?" Clara glanced at the screen. "They've activated security drones near the control room. I can guide you through the corridors." "Follow my instructions exactly." Ethan and Leo navigated the narrow corridors of the alien ship, avoiding patrols and traps as Clara guided them. The tension was unbearable, but Clara's mind was sharp, focused entirely on the patterns of movement, the timing of the drones, and the weaknesses in the alien system. Finally, Ethan and Leo reached the control room. The alien weapon floated in the center, glowing faintly. Clara's eyes widened. It was more powerful than she had imagined, capable of controlling human minds across multiple colonies at once. One mistake could activate it, and the consequences would be catastrophic. "Clara?" Ethan whispered. "We need instructions. Can you shut it down remotely?" Clara nodded quickly. "I can try, but you'll have to disable the manual override. The weapon is shielded against tampering." Ethan moved forward, carefully disabling the protective barriers around the weapon. Leo assisted, using his engineering skills to bypass the alien systems. Clara monitored the transmissions, guiding their every move. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the alien ship. The weapon began to pulse, and drones swarmed toward Ethan and Leo. Clara's heart raced. "Move to the left corridor, now!" she shouted. Ethan and Leo obeyed, narrowly avoiding the drones. Clara quickly decoded the next transmission, revealing a vulnerability in the weapon's control panel. "You can disable it by rerouting the power flow through the secondary grid. I'll guide you." Ethan nodded. "We're on it." Minutes felt like hours as Ethan and Leo worked together to reroute the power. Clara guided them step by step, watching the patterns in the alien code, predicting their movements, and adjusting instructions in real time. Sweat ran down her face, but she didn't stop. Lives depended on her focus. Finally, the weapon's glow dimmed. The pulsing stopped. Clara let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "It's disabled," she said quietly. Ethan and Leo slumped in relief. "We did it," Ethan said. "Thanks to you, Clara." Clara shook her head. "No, it's all of us. Humans working together. That's what made the difference." Meanwhile, the colonies across the sector received the news. Humans had prevented the attacks, protected their supplies, and maintained communication lines. The alien faction had underestimated human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Clara felt a surge of pride. Humans had proven themselves, but the mission was not over. They still had to expose the alien conspiracy and ensure humans were recognized as capable, intelligent beings in the Interstellar Council. Ethan and Clara returned to the station, where Maya and the other analysts were waiting. Maya approached Clara, her expression serious. "You were amazing," she said. "I never realized humans could be this clever. Even when I made mistakes, I see now humans can fight back." Clara nodded slowly. "It's not just me. Humans can adapt, learn, and act together. That's what makes us strong." Ethan joined them. "Now we need to show the Council what we've discovered. We need to prove that humans are more than pawns, that we can think, act, and survive." Clara helped prepare the report, detailing the alien transmissions, the manipulation of human colonies, and the clever strategies humans had used to stop them. She included step-by-step accounts of how the strike teams had anticipated attacks, disabled alien devices, and protected colonies. The document was thorough, clear, and undeniable. When they presented the evidence to the Interstellar Council, there was silence at first. The council members studied the transmissions, the maps, and the human strategies. Slowly, expressions of shock and respect replaced doubt. A council member spoke, voice heavy with realization. "Humans, they predicted, adapted, and acted. They were clever, brave, and resourceful. This changes everything." Clara felt a warm pride. Humans had been underestimated for too long. Now the council would see their true potential. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've done more than decode transmissions. You've shown that humans can rise above fear and manipulation. You've proven what we can do." Clara smiled faintly. "We've all done it. Humans together proved it." Even Maya, who had betrayed them before, looked humbled. "I underestimated humans," she admitted. "They can shine even in the darkest shadows." The council decided to recognize humans as capable participants in interstellar affairs. Colonies were granted more autonomy, and human intelligence networks were strengthened. The alien faction was exposed, their plans revealed, and their influence reduced. Humans had not only survived, they had shown strength, cleverness, and courage that even the aliens could not ignore. As the celebrations began, Clara looked up at the stars from the station's observation deck. The vast universe stretched before her, full of danger and mystery, but also full of potential. Humans had proven that even small, clever, and determined individuals could change the course of events, even in the face of powerful enemies. Ethan stood beside her. "We've done well, Clara. Humans have shown their worth." Clara nodded. "Yes, but the universe is big, and there will be other challenges. We just proved that humans can rise to them." Ethan smiled faintly. "And we'll be ready, because humans don't give up. We learn, adapt, and fight back." Clara felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They had faced betrayal, danger, and superior forces, yet humans had triumphed. She realized something important. Intelligence, courage, and teamwork were the true strengths of humanity. Even in the darkest shadows, humans could shine. As she looked out at the stars, Clara made a silent promise. She would continue to protect humans, to uncover secrets, and to fight for their survival. The universe was full of unknown threats, but humans had proven one truth. They were clever, brave, and unstoppable when they worked together. The shadows in space were long, and danger would come again. But Clara Bennett, Ethan Cole, and the humans of the colonies had shown that even in the darkest times, light could shine. And as long as humans never gave up, no force in the universe could stop them. The mission was over, the aliens defeated for now, and humans stronger than ever. Clara smiled, knowing that the future was uncertain, but full of hope. Humans had survived, humans had fought, and humans had won. The stars stretched endlessly before her, and for the first time Clara felt a sense of true peace. Humans were clever, courageous, and resilient. And that was a force the universe could never ignore.